Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. So, I saw highlights of the Laker preseason game against the Phoenix Suns. This is the second game against the Suns, and with some amazing things that I saw out there. First of all, wow, Anthony Davis. Did he put us on his back or what? 6 out of 7 3-point shots. He was terrific, man. He was doing all kinds of stuff out there, just being aggressive, showing us why he's an MVP candidate this season and every season, and why we should be very happy to have him for 5 years. I mean, just unbelievable talent this individual has, and length, and just ability overall. He's just a brilliant basketball player that I think is going to have his name and his jersey up in the rafters in Staples Center someday. I think that's pretty much what we can expect if we, from him. That's the type of level of play that he's always given to the league and that he will continue to bring to the league. And tonight was no exception. That's just an excellent athlete, Anthony Davis. What else? Talen Horton-Tucker. Wow. I think he had 31 points tonight, 10 boards. And the stuff he was doing out there. Look, LeBron James is from what I understand, the person who was really trying to push for him to be drafted by the Lakers. LeBron was a fan of his even when he was in high school, from what I understand, and this was somebody that Bron's been trying to get with Clutch as well. I did a video explaining what I seen in Talen, but he's continuing to do it. Since then, he's had 2 30-point games in a row, double-digit rebounds in a row, defensive statistics. This dude is playing like an all-star, albeit in preseason, but he's doing it against all opponents. Anybody they put in front of him, he's doing this to, and he's able to improvise on the fly is what I'm noticing. He's really good at controlling his body and contorting to put himself in positions to not only finish but get to the basket. He's very good at driving the ball. He's very good at changing direction. And that's not something I saw from him before. It's getting kind of scary, is what I'm saying in regards to Talen Horton-Tucker. What I mean by that is, I know it's the preseason and I don't want to overreact, but I have no reason to believe that what he's showing us, he's not going to continue to show us. And he's doing this in limited minutes. He's not even getting 30 minutes a night. And he's putting up 30 minutes a night numbers. Like, it's getting to be a bit worrisome. And I say that in the most positive way, but it's like, yo, how good is this dude? It's one of those situations where you're sitting here and you're saying, I remember when Devontae Graham broke out, last year, and how I felt about that. Like, whoa, this dude came out of nowhere. He had been in the league a couple years, but he'd been on the back of the bench. You didn't know he was that good, not that good. And he turned into almost an all-star player. I've seen guys break out in the past. You look at obviously what the San Antonio Spurs have been able to do with Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, getting those guys in the second round and turning them into Hall of Famers and things like that. I've seen that in our own team. We got Nick Van Axel in the second round. He turned into a monster. We got Derek Fisher on the back of the first round, and he turned into one of the winningest point guards in Laker history. I mean, we're talking about second round picks, people who folks didn't think much of. Jordan Clarkson's one of those guys. So we've seen this before. But I'm here to tell you that Talen Horton-Tucker, he looks different to me. He looks like everybody dropped the ball in scouting but LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, because this dude is like, he's showing me signs of being a leading guy, like a leading player, like the type of guy that you want to lead your team. Now, I don't know if he's the best player on a championship team or saying that he has that type of potential per se, but some of the things that I'm seeing him do out there are making me think that that's actually not the craziest thing in the world to even think. I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, it's preseason. We've seen guys break out in the preseason before, but this is different. This is a unique situation here that the Lakers have found themselves in, because this kid's showing us special talent. Like, not just a role player or not even a guy you shake your fist at and say, yes, this was a good draft pick. No, this dude looks like somebody you got to pay. Like, pay. That's what I'm starting to see in Talen Horton Tucker. He's not just a guy. He might be somebody. And if that's the case, um, what an awesome thing to have him on a rookie contract, first of all, and we're going to win a lot of games. But then it's like, okay, how do we keep him? How do we keep him? If he turns into what he looks like he's going to turn into, it's going to be impossible to keep him. We already have Anthony Davis and LeBron James on max contracts. You know, they're talking about re-signing Kyle Kuzma, from what I understand, or should I say extending. From what I understand, those talks have died down. And I think, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I think it has something to do with what I'm saying. I mean, Talen Horton Tucker was supposed to be a role player who was to give us all that he's given us, but on a much lesser scale. And we were going to work him into the lineup slowly. We expect him to come in and just kind of, you know, go through the motions like most young players, and then over the next 4 years, work himself into a nice contract, and we'd probably get him for the cheap. No, that's not what's happening here. No. That's not what's happening here. What we're seeing is somebody who looks like he wants to make a few all-star teams or more in his career, because he's a two-way player who seems to have range from everywhere. He's not afraid of the mid-range. He's not afraid of the free throw line. He's not afraid of driving at you. He continues to drive at you. He just continues to shoot in people's faces, and he makes these shots. So I'm going to say who he reminds me of. I've been thinking about this for a couple of days, and as he continues to play like this, it's starting to manifest into a real, actual thing. He reminds me of Paul Pierce. That's who Talen Horton Tucker plays like offensively to me. Because of the mid-range game, the ability to pull up from a set three-point shot and make it at a high clip. Obviously, Paul Pierce is a fantastic free throw shooter, if I'm not mistaken. He was very good from the free throw line. I think he had some up and down years, though. But either way, good enough to hit to the line. He can do all that you need him to do. And Talen has metrics that you can't teach. Long arms, massive hands that he's able to use to kind of reach in and get steals on a very consistent basis, reach in and get blocks. Obviously, because of his skill set, you can play him pretty much at any position. He can play from 1 through 5, basically, in a small ball lineup, because of his ability to handle the ball and because of his length and his defensive mindset. So when you're talking about Talen Horton Tucker, you really don't see too many weaknesses in the guy's game, like at all. And that's just terrifying. I mean, it's scary how good this dude is. And it's like, okay, so does he keep this up? This is a young player. He's 20 years old. He has had weight issues in the past. He was in the second round for some reason, right? Obviously, he had some flaws to his game. He wasn't Michael Jordan out there. But look, now we're looking and seeing peak production from this kid. And it's just very, very clear that we're not going to get away with the game plan that we had for him going forward. That's just not going to fly. He's too good for that. So, now what? Well, I can tell you what I want us to do. You make sure you keep him. You make sure, first of all, you don't trade him at all over the next couple of years on a rookie contract. He's probably going to be one of the better contracts in the game, just like Kuzma's is, actually. Even though he hasn't played that great, his contract's amazing because he's not making money yet. So you want to keep as many of those guys on the team. So for the time being, Talen Horton Tucker should pretty much be prioritized over several players that we thought he wouldn't, including Wesley Matthews. Sorry, Wes Matthews, you're a fantastic vet, but we got a kid breaking out over here, and I don't know what to tell you, but if I'm coach, he's taking pretty much most of your minutes. I'm just being real. And there's a few other guys that's true for as well. I don't think Kuzma is that guy, though. I think the Lakers are probably going to look to trade Kuzma in a couple of days because those talks have died down and he is looking to get extended. And we know he's a very good offensive player, but all those things I was talking about, Talen doing rebounding, getting steals and blocks, Kuzma doesn't really translate statistically in that way. but I always want to throw in the words effort because he does give it to you on the defensive end. And he is an NBA champion at this point. So you do understand that his experience at this point now is valuable. And like I said, on his contract, now you probably don't want to get rid of that right away. Um, but what can you get for him? Do you want to let him walk? Those are questions that you don't really have to answer right now. I think the trade deadline is like in March, but I do not expect Kyle Kuzma to be on this team for much longer because I just don't think that he has a future here. He's played well in his preseason though. He's been a weapon for us, but his role is uncertain. That's the truth. Do we need him to be even our third scorer anymore? No. We got nothing but scores all over the bench. I mean, if Talen Horton-Tucker is putting up 30, we don't need anything from Kyle Kuzma. That's the truth. He's just a luxury. Same thing with KCP. Same thing with a lot of guys that are on our bench. If we have that type of production coming from one player, it's just a luxury. Depth is a luxury, and given this season is a coronavirus season, we can expect guys going in and out of the lineup with the virus. Obviously, the vaccine's out there now, so we'll see if that starts taking into effect, what happens with that, if that affects things going forward over the next several months. But if for some reason it doesn't, COVID's a real thing. Guys are going to get it, and guys are going to be out 14 days or more. So we just got to be real about that, and depth is more important than ever because of it. So we take that into account as well, but it's just, what a luxury it is to have a guy like Talen breaking out in the way that he is. Now, does he start? In my mind, of course. Heck yeah, he's starting from day one. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not even bringing him off the bench. But in the real world, I don't think it works that way. I don't expect Talen to start this season. He may end up on the starting lineup near the end, but I expect him to be like a six-man. LeBron James probably going to play 3. Anthony Davis hates playing 5. So you're going to have somebody playing the 5. Talen can play the 2, but they have KCP making all this money. They got, like I said, Wesley Matthews come in. Dennis Schroeder is going to want some 2 minutes as well. So it's going to be kind of tough. Even though I think Dennis starts at the point guard, you still have Alex Caruso, who's ascending, who's getting better, and who's one of your better defenders as well. So you have some things you got to consider at that position if you're the Lakers. But like I said, Talen's taking somebody's minutes, so it is what it is. Kuzma is best playing the 3 and the 2, and I think we figured that out. Now he's starting to play a little small forward, maybe even some shooting guard. I'd like to see how he thrives under those circumstances because I think his skill set is better suited to attack smaller forwards and bigger guards rather than power forwards and centers. And I think that's one of the reasons why he struggled over the last several years because we've been playing a stretch 4 and he's really not a stretch 4. He's more so a 3. So I think that kind of got lost even in myself. I didn't really think about that, but now that he's starting to play some 3, he's starting to be able to score more. And I think when you talk about what he gives you effort-wise on the defensive end, it will probably translate better if he's guarding smaller players. So that's just something to think about. I think we've been using Kuzma wrong, and I think we're starting to realize that, and I think we're starting to pick it up. So that's good. That's a big deal. So what I'm seeing out there is synergy from guys who played with one another and won a championship, and some lacking in energy from some guys who weren't a part of the team last year. Tonight, Wesley Matthews didn't have his greatest game. He was a little bit sluggish from what I understand. Marc Gasol as well. And that's understandable. Those guys are older. Those guys have a lot of miles on them. Those guys have had injuries, especially Wesley Matthews. That Achilles injury that he suffered several years back, that was a real thing. So, we got to temper our expectations as it pertains to those 2 players particularly. I love what I see out of Quinn Cook, NBA champion 3 times over, if I'm not mistaken. This dude already got three rings, or 2 rings, and he did some great things. He made some great plays down the stretch. I love the fact that our coach played our back of the bench players down the stretch of a close game. He did not let AD or LeBron James play it all down the stretch, even though it was like a 3-point game. He let Quinn Cook get out there. He let Costas get out there. If I'm not mistaken, K-Cock, I think that's his name, who's been playing great, by the way. That dude needs more minutes, too. He was out there at the 4 spot. So, I like what I saw from our coach. He did not let the moment pass him by for him to get those guys, that back of the bench crew, some meaningful basketball minutes. And they went out and won the game. They did. Got kudos to those guys for going out and winning that game. It was fun to see highlights of that. I didn't see the whole game, but I definitely watched the highlights twice. So for whatever that's worth. Yeah, man. We got roster, some great problems to have, but roster issues. Roster issues in the sense that some guys are going to need to sit down, and I hope it doesn't mess with our chemistry. One of the reasons why we had such phenomenal chemistry last year is because guys fit in their roles and they were comfortable playing those roles, and there was no issues with those type of things. I don't know that we have that this year. We have some guys on the bench that are going to want some things. Some guys who don't have NBA championships yet. Some guys who haven't been paid yet. And it's also some guys coming back from that championship run and they're used to a certain thing. So it'll be interesting to see. But winning cures all, and we're going to be doing a whole lot of that. So, yeah, very, very happy. Trez giving me energy as usual, his infectious energy, even though he does have some defensive issues. That's going to be a thing. Anthony's going to have to take on those defensive assignments that he's not going to want to take on this year, that he didn't have to take on last year because of Dwight. Mark will try. He will. You can put him down there, but if you're trying to get the stop, it's going to have to be AD. If we're playing against, say, Embiid or Towns or Ayton, it's going to have to be AD. He's going to have to guard those guys. Now, he may not have to bang with them offensively as much, but on the defensive side, he's just going to have to check those dudes. So that's just something I understand. You know that going into it. Don't even put Trez on Jokic. Don't even put Trez on those guys that I just mentioned. Don't even do it. Just don't. And as long as you understand that early, you'll be happy. You'll be happy. But some things just don't have to happen. Don't put Trez in those situations to get beaten by guys that are just so very offensively talented. He's a fantastic source of energy, but he's not going to stop those people. So, and I'm okay with that. We forego that for what he brings to the table, which is sheer and utter offensive energy, rebounding, and just the ability to run a score up. Like, we gonna see scores get run up just because he bullies people sometimes. It's gonna get ugly out here. But yeah, this is a very, 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 very serious team. I don't think there's a team in the league even close to as good as us right now. Not even close. And we have a chance to make history, honestly. But I'm going to leave it at that. My name is BDF44. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out.